Now we are going to do a live example, and this live example is very important because I will give a few tips that are mandatory to start working with routing. So you will learn how to import the route library. So I have seen many examples where they are not working because the developer forget about importing the route library from Angular 2. You will learn how to create the route configuration decorator in one component. Then we will use a router link to navigate between views, and we will use a router outlet container to place a template of every component while we are navigating. As an extra, and this is an advanced topic, I will explain how to pass parameters between views using the URL. Okay, so let's start coding. In this case, we won't use Plonker, that we have been using it in most of the examples to keep simple the configuration, because routing in this case doesn't work so nice and we can't appreciate the route change, the URLs in Plonker. So we will do the example from scratch. So if you have followed all the exercises and examples, the configuration of a new Angular 2 project should be straightforward for you, but I will do it slowly again. We are learning, so you can follow this example with everything that you will need to know to work with routing and everything else in Angular 2. So first of all, let's create a folder. I will call it router example. We should point to this folder in our terminal because later on we will execute npm install. I'm going to create a file in this folder. It's in the desktop, routing example, and this is going to be the package.json. Remember that we need the package.json to install all the dependencies that Angular needs, all the libraries. So let's create this file. And let's create another new file that is going to be the tsconfig.json. If you remember, this is a configuration of TypeScript. How are we going to transpile our files? And I recommend that every time that we want to create an application, an Angular, we can use the Angular command line interface, but remember this is in alpha, or we can just go to the Angular 2 page, go to the 5-minute quick start, and we need to copy from here the tsconfig.json. So this is the one that we have to paste here. And also, let's go to the package and open this again. Okay, let's put it here simple. And the package is going to be all this. I recommend to do it this way because as we are in beta, they are releasing probably every week a new beta version. So it's nice to have always the latest version that they are creating from the package.json. Okay. So the next step, as you remember, is to execute npm install. So this will take care of getting all the dependencies. It takes a little bit. Okay. So once the installation is done, the next part that we have to do, this is the Angular 2 configuration that we have to do all the time. We need to create an index.html. And, I highly recommend also that you paste the index that they suggest. So everything is going to be working nice and straightforward. So we paste the index here. And now we have the first hint that we have to do. We have to import from the node modules from Angular 2 from models, and here we have to we have to search for router, yes, and from here wait a second. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing which is the folder that we have to search, but I have it here. in my previous practical example. So let's see which is the folder that we need. Yes, it's in bundle router dev. So let's go for it. Bundles router dev. So yes, this is a critical step that we have to do. So you should not forget about importing the router, because everything that we're going to do right now, if you don't import this, it won't work. Another hint that is super important is to specify the base. Okay. And this step is so important that the full application won't load if we don't do this part. If we don't specify the base ref of our application, the router won't know how to capture the URLs or how to go from one place to the other one. Okay, so let's continue coding. And the next part should be to create an app folder. So let's create an app folder here. We need to create a main.ts. Remember the main.ts, I think it's somewhere, I have it somewhere here. Well, I have it already here. So I'm going to take it from the example, so we don't have to code so much. Yes, so this is the main, perfect. So when you create the main.ts, it should be something like this. And this is the bootstrapping process of Angular, where you specify how Angular is going to load. In this case, we are telling that we will load Angular from the browser. Okay, so the next step is what I deleted 1 second ago. That is, we need to tell Angular that we will use the router providers from Angular 2 router library. And this is a dependency from our application. So we have to specify here router providers from this library. This is super important also to remember this step. Okay, so the next step, we will create a app component.ts. This is going to be our main component. If we remember from other chapters, we have to specify here component from Angular 2 core library. Then we do the component decorator. We specify a template. Let's do it with the multi-line. We need to specify also a selector. In our case, in the index is the my app. Okay, so let's come here and put my app, comma, yeah, perfect. We will need later on also to specify directive, the array, also the providers, and we can export the class app. So we can check that app is the one that we're importing, telling Angular in the bootstrapping process. So everything is working as we should expect. And let's say here with an h3, your page is, and then we will say router outlet. So every time that we navigate from one page to the other one, the information from the next component is going to be placed after the h3. Okay, so let's check in the app.ts. Yes, so exactly that's the result that I want to get. And from here, we need to import the router outlet from Angular 2 router. Okay, so this is a way that we specify this, and this is mixed with this. Okay, so the next step in this example is going to be to create other component. So let's create a welcome component.ts. Let's put here the basic configuration. So import component from Angular 2 core for add component. I'm doing it several times, so you'll remember how to do it once and again and again. Okay, so welcome component. From here we need a template. So in this case it's going to be, let's put an h1 welcome page. We need a selector also, so let's put here welcome component. Okay, so that's it, and let's copy and paste this 3 more times. So we have the login component.ts. We paste this here, we change this my login, we put login page, and we put here login component. Let's repeat this one more time, and we have the user component. Oh, I forgot the extension. Where is it? Ah, okay, perfect. So so we have here user page, user component. So we have 3 components. These are going to be our 3 pages that we want to put inside our router outlet. So the next step, it's going to be import all these components so we can work with them. So we have welcome component from this directory, welcome component. We have login component from also from this directory. Finally, we have user component from this directory. Yeah. So if you remember, a component is a directive. So in order to use dependency injection, we should put our components in the directive array of this component. Okay, it seems to be a little bit confusing at the beginning, but it's just a configuration.